the boroughs, the history, the stories, and the accents. And we kicked off in Queens 2 Wednesdays ago. We were in Staten Island last Wednesday, and tonight we're putting the spotlight on Manhattan. Honestly, I have mixed feelings about Manhattan because having been born and raised in Queens, it really bothers me the way the outer boroughs are kind of short-shrifted and people act like, well, some people act like Manhattan is the only part of New York City that really matters. And while it's true, Manhattan is the cultural and economic center, not only of New York City, but of the USA, I think Manhattan really should get props for being the nexus, a connector, and I see it as a door opener. So, my grandma came to New York City from Italy when she was a teenager, and she lived in Brooklyn. And like many immigrant women in the early 1800s, she worked at home, sewing clothes and hats. And she eventually got a job in the garment district, and she began commuting to Manhattan every day to go to 34th Street for work. And then she would take lunch breaks and go to the automat. How many people know what the automat is? So she described it as like this magical modern marvel. It's basically vending machines, like they had prepackaged food. But at the time, this was completely new and it was all the rage. And she would go for walks with her friends. They would go to Macy's, the largest store in the world where you could get anything you want. They would go sometimes to Central Park, to the Museum of Natural History and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And so Manhattan really offered all these opportunities for cultural enrichment. And I was born and raised in Queens, and I began a daily commute to Manhattan when I started high school, going to Stuyvesant High School, which is in Lower Manhattan. A very exciting place to be. And Stuyvesant High School is 10 stories high, but it wasn't the size of the building that was really surprising to me. It was that they had escalators, they had air conditioners, they had laboratories with equipment like Bunsen burners, they had all these foreign language classes, so I started studying Japanese, and the teacher referred me to a scholarship to spend a summer studying abroad in Japan, and this is something that I would have never considered within the realm of possibility. So, like it did for my grandmother 2 generations before me, going to Manhattan every day really broadened my horizons. And it was also the opportunity for me to meet people from all the 5 boroughs. And that experience of beginning to traverse the boroughs and really experience more of New York City, and the realization of the inequitable distribution of the resources in New York City are 2 things that inspired me to establish the 5 Boroughs Story Project. Another thing, another impetus for me was studying here at Teachers College with Professor Hope Leitzer and getting my master's degree in family and community education and learning about the power of stories and how we learn from stories. So I'm Tawkin Here is the launch event of the 5 Borough Story Project. And thank you all for being here at the start of this very exciting journey. I hope you'll stay connected because we're going to be doing many more events like this. You can find us on Facebook at the 5 Borough Story Project, on Twitter at 5 Borough Stories. You can also sign up for the mailing list that we have at the front of the room. And tonight, as we mentioned, we're putting the spotlight on Manhattan, so we have 3 more storytellers and a musician who has written a song about her neighborhood just for tonight. And we'll be concluding with a clip from the documentary about the New York accent called If These Knishes Could Talk.